Education and the University Anthem. Shall we be seated? As I implore those seated at the upper half of the hall to please move for the ease of our cameras. Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome everyone, principal officers, deans, directors, professors, heads of departments and units, staff members here present, our dear students, ladies, to the 51st inaugural lecture of this award-winning institution at the University, Akungba Akoko. The lecture is titled Low Alternating Electromagnetic Field. It will be presented by Professor without to invite the chairman of this ceremony, Professor Dele, as he presents the inaugural lecturer. Please put your hands together.
members of management of AAUA University, deans of faculties, directors, heads of department, members of the university community, the inaugural lecture, members of the immediate family of the inaugural lecturer, distinguished professors, all are here seated. Greatest Nigeria students, ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense pleasure and a deep sense of academic pride that I welcome you all to this August gathering for the 51st lecture at University, University of Mbaboko. This series has become a cornerstone, vibrant platform where we celebrate scholarly achievements. When a distinguished professor steps into the spotlight to share a life of research, narrate the story of their intellectual journey, and present their significant contributions to the global pool of knowledge. Today, we have the distinct honor of gathering to witness such a presentation. Professor Dele, Abajingin, a distinguished scholar of theoretical physics in the Department of Physics and Electronics. The title of today's lecture, A Low-Value Alternating Electromagnetic Field for Malaria Therapy, a new down step to the same old drama. It's as poetic as it is profound. It immediately captures the imagination and hints at the innovative, boundary-pushing thinking that defines Professor Abajigin's work. It's a known fact that for centuries, humanity has been locked in a relentless battle with malaria, the same old drama, whose deadly rhythm has claimed lives and shaped the destiny of nations. Our traditional weapons, pharmaceutical drugs, and insecticides have been vital, yet this old drama has proven adept at changing its beats, consistently developing resistance and evading our best efforts. This is precisely why we are Professor Abajingin to this revolutionary new down step. His concept is as elegant as it is groundbreaking. Instead of a chemical assault, which the parasite can learn to resist, this research explores a physical, non-invasive intervention. The idea of using a low-value alternating electromagnetic field to disrupt the very biology of malaria parasite represents a true paradigm shift. It speaks to a deep understanding of biophysics and a creative, almost artistic approach to problem solving, attacking this ancient scourge from an entirely new and unexpected angle. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the very essence of interdisciplinary innovation, not merely an incremental advance. It is a battlefield. If successful, this new downstep could lead to therapies that are less toxic, less prone to resistance, and accessible even in the most resource-limited settings. The potential impact on global public health is simply put as staggering. Professor Abajigin's own academic journey is a testament to dedication and lifelong learning. He began with a National Certificate of Education, NCE, in physics and mathematics from the former Abajingin College of Education, Ondo, in 1976. He then earned a Bachelor of Education Science from the University of Benin in 1983. Master of Science in Physics from the University of Ibadan in 1988. And capped it all with a Doctor of Philosophy in Physics from the University of Benin in 2008. Joined the service of Adekunle University at Akoko in 1999 as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Physics and Electronics, and through shared dint of hard work and scholarly output, rose through the ranks to become a professor in 2019. Throughout his illustrious career, Professor Abajingin has served this university with distinction in numerous academic and administrative capacities. These include acting head, Department of Physics and Electronics from 2010 to 2012, and again from 2020 to 2022, coordinator, undergraduate programs, Physics and Electronics from 2012 to 2015, acting head, Department of Computer Science from 2013 to 2014, and acting head, Department of Mathematical Sciences from 2014 to 2015. He also served as the Faculty of Science representative on the Institute of Education Promotion Board of Studies. Currently, the Director, Center for Space Research in this institution. A prolific academic, Professor Abajingin has authored 4 books, published 32 journal articles, and has 4 additional manuscripts awaiting publication. His influence has extended beyond our walls, having served as an adjunct lecturer at the Kogi State University from 2007 to 2008, at the former Ondo State University, now Ekiti State University from 1990 to 19. Recognition of his stellar scholarly contributions and service to humanity, Professor Abajingin has received numerous awards and honors, including the Akim Ogun Indigenous Inaugural Scholarship from 1971 to 1972. He has also been an active participant in the global academic conversation, presenting his work at several local and international conferences. An active member of several prestigious professional bodies, including the Nigerian Association of Mathematical Physics, Ghana Society of Science, the Society and Experimental Science and Engineering Institute of Physics. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I prepare to invite Professor Abajingin to the podium, you are about to hear more than just a lecture. You are about to witness the story of a scientific quest, a compelling narrative of curiosity, challenges, perseverance, breakthroughs, and a future for malaria therapy reimagined. On behalf of the entire university community, the council, senate, management, staff, and students of Adekunle University, I extend our profound congratulations, Professor Dele David Abajingin, on this milestone. We are deeply grateful for his unwavering commitment to academic excellence and his enduring contributions to the legacy of Adekunle University. It is now my singular honor and pleasure to call upon our esteemed colleague, Professor D.D. Abajingin, ABA, to deliver the 51st inaugural lecture of our university. Please join me in giving him a very warm and resounding welcome to the program. Thank you, and God bless you.
The Deputy Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, the Registrar, Dean of Graduate School, Deans of Faculties and Student Affairs, Directors and Heads of Departments, professors and other distinguished members of Senate, royal fathers, members of staff at the Jackson University, special guests, family members, friends of the university, great AAUA students, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I'm starting this presentation with heartfelt gratitude to the Almighty God for giving me this platform to stand before this assembly of great academia and distinguished individuals here present. I was born into the family of Chief Adeyemi Abajingin, the Loyimi of Ondo Kingdom, a well-known timber merchant and the arrowhead amongst his contemporaries in Ondo. This gave him the opportunity to have the highest timber business relationships with the Englishmen that came to the western part of Nigeria before independence. He was so excited in this business that he composed a song, and I sing. Agbegeduko loyimi, agbegeduko loyimi she, agbegeduko loyimi, agbegeduko loyimi she. Because his background, his popularity amongst and being able to see beyond the present as at that time made it compulsory for all the children, whether above to start school, nobody could have ever thought that the seed of yearning for education for the children as planted then could even produce great men and women found in different corridors of educational institutions and military organizations within Nigeria and abroad. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, one of the products of that decision stand before you today, 25th November 2025, to the 51st inaugural lecture of this university, Faculty of Science, and the second, the Department of Physics and Electronics. The academic beginning was initially not well defined, as there were various conflicting suggestions between my elder sister and my mother on what I should aspire to become in life. This made it very difficult for me to determine where to work into within the various existing academic domains. I had my elementary school education at Ebenezer African Primary School in Akure. This school was established by the missionaries before her adoption by the government. Her curriculum was on sound moral education and elementary science programs. These foundational science programs was a pointer to my choice of secondary school. Among the 6 secondary schools in existence in Akure Township, as at that time, Oyeme Grammar School Akure was my best option. And why? We have 6 secondary schools. The commercial school at Okearo, Fashage Grammar School, Oyeme Grammar School, and by my own thinking, that has been the only school, by virtue of the pronouncements of school. My 5 years of stay in this school gave me an opportunity to identify my computational gifts in the physical sciences, most especially in mathematics and physics, the present. My ignorance of the relationship between physics, mathematics, and the diverse career opportunities in engineering, computer science, other sciences, made me to align my best subjects with the best popular occupation around me, and that is teaching. Then to be of much relevance as secondary school teacher, I sought admission into Adeyemi College of Education, Ondo, where I obtained a national Certificate of Education NC in Physics and Mathematics. Thereafter, I proceeded to University of Benin City, where I obtained a BEd Science Physics option. The first lecture I had with Professor Sharma and Professor N.O. Ajay during my undergraduate days in Physics department was an interactive and full of academic know-how that I decided to upgrade from secondary school teacher to a university lecturer. Professor Amiu, Professor Laugun, Professor Idiodi, Dr. Mwagu. Equally, the indiscriminative attitude of lecturers from the Department of Mathematics built in me a family of trusted academia. On both fronts, the conventional attitude, the encouragement from these lecturers further encouraged me to hold on to my earlier decision. I applied for master's degree under the supervision of a well-known physicist. This marked my first baptism in theoretical physics. With theoretical studies takes physics as specialization. In order to complete I decided to go back to my academic home, University of Benin, where I did my PhD in theoretical physics, condensed matter option, under the sole supervision of Professor of blessed memory. My PhD approach was intentionally chosen to showcase my fitting into a well-human, intelligent. To my renowned professors, I was bound to assume a theoretical physicist. This stable structure was well defined by both potential and electronics, represented by the seventh order polynomial. The resulting energy that defined the bonding has since kept me in the academic corridor. I published scientific papers to justify the existence of a embedded atom method, EM, in the simulation of the thermodynamic properties of solid matters, and equally joint publications on this subject matter. Abajingin and Idiodi 204, Abajingin et al. 207, Abajingin and Agbi 210, Abajingin 2012, Abajingin 2015, and Abajingin 2015A, Abajingin 2019. As a theoretical I had proposed and derived space-wave equations in 3 dimensions to enable an easy simulations of space parameters in Z direction, which had been trivialized in space studies. Abajingin and Obodi, 1999. Abajingin 201, Adewale and Abajingin 204, Abajingin 204A, Abajingin 2015. The shift will be the present. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I want to put it on record that I have no time regretted my choice of being a theoretical physicist. As a theoretical physicist, whose area of concentration is soundly established in theoretical modeling and simulation, I have made serious impacts both in establishing theoretical models to simulate space parameters and solid metal thermodynamic parameters. Within my space, I have been adjudged to be one of the outstanding professors in this area of study. With this, my shape does not suggest a failure as a theoretical physicist, but a suggestive idea of applying physics in medicine beyond the well-known physics-based equipment found in the medical laboratories. Fortunately, my shifts showcase new knowledge I ventured into by expressing a physics concept to develop a malaria therapy. This came out of the bad experience which I had with this deadly disease, not out of sheer curiosity, as will be narrated soon. Malaria fever and causes. About 300 million acute cases of malaria fever are reported yearly around the world, resulting in more than 100 million deaths. Apparently, Approximately 90% of these deaths occur in Africa, mostly in young children. In Nigeria, statistics have shown that out of 60% of malaria cases, 30% result into children death. WHO 2015. Malaria is an infectious disease caused by parasitic protozoan of the genus Plasmodium. Of the Plasmodium species, Plasmodium falciparum have been identified to contribute significantly to pathogenesis of malaria. These parasites, if not treated by this parasite is transmitted by the female Anopheles mosquito. The parasite multiplies within the erythrocytes with symptoms such as high fever, evening chills, and headaches. Complications from malaria include fetal anemia, biochemical alterations in tissues metabolism, and damage to organs such as liver, kidney, and the brain. Bayard 2013, Connington et al. 2013, and El Salihi et al. 2016, malaria therapy. Existing malaria therapy, both on local and international platforms, is made up of boiled leaves, concoction, and orthodox medicines, pharmaceutical drugs, made from combination of leaves and roots, which are industrially synthesized. Initially, these drugs were very effective before Nigerian factor worked into their production and administration. The consequence of Nigerian factor led to adulterated drugs found in almost all the pharmaceutical stores. This was confirmed by Dr. Mrs. Dora Aquili of blessed memory, the then National Director of NAFDAC 2015, Thank et al. 2003. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I was caught in the webs of these adulterated drugs in 1997 when one of my children had malaria fever. All medications were doctor's prescriptions, which were strictly followed. Thinking that this boy was completely healed, he was allowed to go to school, only to be called from his school that he has been rushed down to the hospital. On getting to the hospital, I met him in a state of coma. My great worries were that this boy was never placed on any medical support, and the unprofessional attitude of the medical staff on duty. Maybe the actions were conceived out of the hopeless situations the boy was. Intervention came when one of the staff nurses came with a cup of water, which he poured on the boy. Instantly, the boy cried out, "Daddy." Although this was professionally unethical, but the end of her deed brought back the joy that was almost gone. What happened that day made me to think beyond theoretical physics into conceptualizing physics in the realm of providing medical solutions to malaria. Like the, if failed, where is here hypothetically addressed by looking at biological. From the write-ups in biology chemistry journals, 3 important facts emerge as related to cause of malaria fever. These are on the body of the victim. Ejected a virus known as strain. These malaria parasites development impairs on the hemoglobin the red pigment blood cells, literally separating it into hemics and within the blood a non-conducive environment to the existence of malaria virus. To eliminate the toxic effects of the free hemics on the Plasmodium falciparum, the hemics are bonded together to form a polynomial-like structure called hemozyme. This is made because the hemics naturally have some magnetic properties, Henry 2000. The presence of the bloodstream is the existence of the malaria parasite. The situation outside the pharmaceutical drug is solely based or found from the third fact above and as stated. External device back so the environment can be maintained. Thus, the malaria parasites are killed. The use of a device whose basic operation is physics-based and able to produce a physics element which, with no adverse effects on the human organ, to act on the thus cause the separation into hemics. With this, the blood environment becomes toxic malaria parasite. Again, the physics element in the build to be put in place. Experimental procedure. I try to demonstrate to have a very simplified hemozyme series nature of the hemozyme. And I put on a table a bar magnet, using bar magnets. I put on a table, fix a bar magnet and point it to the artificial. I rotated it. What I found at that stage was the and as that single magnet, the knot and the series I rotated that magnet vigorously. The magnet that and means the experiment described looks so crude. It gives sought for in this study. This is based on the simple fact that hemics magnetic separated into original. Where are we going when those medications fail? Does Egun la fi ń wẹ ẹ̀gún? You find that and the blood is made up of hemoglobin and certain other. When the virus gets into the blood system, it's broken. The hemoglobin is broken into two: hemis and globin. The presence of hemis within the bloodstream make it so toxic to the parasite, malaria parasite. Within a very short while, the parasite will be wiped off. But for the parasite to remain, the magnetic property within the hemis tend to pull these hemozyme, bits of hemozyme together to form a structure like tape. a non, and to be able to conquer that, a similar arrangement that we produce, that we call, and what I have used here is an electromagnetic field. Electromagnetic field into bits, which has magnetic property, and the magnetic property there is the equi. And to watch it off, we use electromagnetic platform, which is equi. Praise the Lord. Electromagnetic field source. There are two physics devices, the solenoid and Helmholtz coil, that can generate alternating electromagnetic field. Have adopted the Helmholtz coil for this study. A Helmholtz coil consists of two identical circular coils that are placed symmetrically along a common axis, one on each side of the experimental area, and separated by a distance r, which is equal to the radius of the coil. Each coil carries an equal electric current in the same direction. This minimizes the non-uniformity of the field at the center of the coil. That, again, is another score on this method. The rat, or the human structure, is supposed to be placed at the center where that magnetic field is uniform. At other ends, there are variations, which depends on the current that flows through the current. So to be able to minimize all those fluctuations, we tend to use the center of the coil. Properties of the field. There are three properties. This uniformity, that's the first property. The electromagnetic field must be uniform. The unique arrangement of the coils is the magnetic field to be nearly uniform at the center region of or between the coils. Direction of the fields, again, to the axis of the coil in the central figure 2. The lines in from one coil and enter the other, creating a nearly uniform field between them, and more spread out fields outside this region, as shown in figure 2 also. Magnetic equations and Helmholtz coil. Well, I want to chip in mathematics here, as my course will not, or this discussion will not be complete without element of mathematics. And that's an advantage also. The mathematics here enables me to dictate or to measure the quantity of electromagnetic field used in all the experiments we carried out. Magnetic field on the axis. Magnetic field equations for Helmholtz coil. The magnetic field equation of Helmholtz coil is derived from Savage's law. The basic procedure involved obtaining the magnetic field equation of the first coil along the axis using Savage equation. Obtaining the magnetic field equation for the second law along the same axis with the same procedure. These sum up the two magnetic fields equation using principle of superposition. Magnetic field on the axis. The Savage law is represented by an equation delta B equals, that is the equation 1. Well, okay. I have the equation 1 there. With reference to figure 4, the magnetic field of the circular coil carrying a given value of current I at point P along the axis is obtained by summing up the magnetic field of minute elements that are L, as represented by that diagram. So we are looking for magnetic field at point P using that coil, the single coil, and we are getting it the radius the equation and give you the last equation, which is equation. The series equation that 10th equation that field along naught Ni over 2R, which is into 1.5 minus 1.65 into x over raised to power 4 plus 15 over 4 into x over r raised to power Figure 4 for the seventh equation and the eighth equation, respectively, yellow and green color by the blue curve, which shows that the value of the magnetic field of the coil is maximum at the central point of it. And that is also the main target for this study, that we have uniform magnetic field at the center. That's Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir. The part of physics-based malaria therapy. In malaria therapies, the two essential measurable parameters are the paracetamol density, the PD, and the packed cell volume, the PCV. These parameters show during treatment an inverse relationship that is, when the PD decreases, the PCV increases. This is the case when the malaria therapy is active. That is, there is an adequate suppression of malaria parasite. This target is in this study. This is the target in this study. For malaria therapy, when you are treating malaria therapy, there are two things you measure, the PD and the PCV. When the PD decreases, that shows one thing, that the medication you are applying has the capacity to suppress the hermes from influencing the growth of the malaria parasite. In that case, the PCV increases. That's an indication that what we are applying as the malaria therapy is effective. And that is our target in this study. Abajingin 2015 carried out scientific investigation into the use of alternative magnetic field as a malaria therapy. That is, note that topic. I'm using alternating electromagnetic field as the therapy. First ever conducted globally here in Adekunle University at Waguko, Ondo State, Nigeria. The procedure of this is, when I completed the first study, one of the professors in medicine, one of the university, saw the results and asked me to show the whole extent of beginning of a new thing. Malaria methods. Animals. And average weight about 65 grams were the study animals. They were divided into two groups, the control group and the experimental group. The experimental group was invested with the malaria parasites. And these rats were collected from Department of Parasitology, University College Hospital, UCH, Ibadan, Nigeria. The material I tend to use for the experiment then was the Elmo skull arrangement as showcased in figure 6. So all these we put together and make it the instruments we used. Okay, experimental procedure. The 10 rats were housed in a wooden cage and fed with pellets and water at room temperature for 2 weeks. The rats were randomly divided into experimental and control groups. each group containing 4 rats. The rats in the experimental groups were placed in the Hermes coil, set up where they were exposed to oscillating magnetic field of 41 millitesla. This is another condition we have to put into consideration, because the higher the magnitude of that the higher the heat content, and if not, it's not taking. So we have that the in the equation 15. Like I said before, in the context of malaria, PD is normally expressed with plus signs, or simply a series of plus signs. This indicates a positive result for malaria parasite and produces a semi-quantitative measure of the malaria parasite in the blood. In this study, the observation for the PD from the microscope was classified as 5 to 10% cells of the blood paralyzed. It is classified as 1 plus. When it is between 10 to 20% cells damage pluses, 20 to 30% are labeled 3 pluses. Then the PCV now has a standard equation from literature. It is just PCV equals WBC over total packed cell. The WBC is the white blood cell counts. The laboratory investigation on PD and PCV were carried out in the laboratory technologists, Mr. Aderotimi, and 2 other medical laboratory technologists from Ekare General Hospital. Results. Now, the results are tried to picture out in diagrams. For the average weight, there are two. For the average weight, there are two. One for the experiment. In the box. Of the average weight of the 2 sets increased, but after the 5th day, we find that the one invested with the malaria parasite, the weight suddenly started to increase, and the red is for a group where the weight is for treated group. I don't know how the parasite came into the blood vessel. If the parasites were not there, we would have obtained a line that is parallel to the x-axis, because the PCV will remain constant all through the experimental period. But we suddenly find that as we apply, we have never applied any field. The curve gradually increased, that is showing an increase in PCV. We chose people that the inbuilt immunity of the rat has taken care of the virus inside the rat, and suddenly we find the curve
Adekunle Ajashin University, Akungba Akoko, Ondo State, Nigeria, and Professor Dele Abajingin cordially invite the general public to the 51st inaugural lecture titled "A Low-Value Alternating Electromagnetic Field for Malaria Therapy, a new dance set to the same old drama to be delivered by Professor Dele Abajingin on Tuesday, November 25, 2024, under the distinguished chairmanship of Professor Olugbenga Ige, Vice Chancellor, Adekunle Ajashin University, Akungba Akoko. Venue is the university.
Infected observation be ascertained. This observation 3 days exposure. The PCV increased over time in all the rats. This indicates a natural recovery from the severe anemia. Also, the PD value decreased significantly from 1 positive to nothing. This suggests that the rat's own immune system are naturally fighting the infection. The rats in the control group show significant improvement in both their PD and their PCV over the 2 weeks of observation. Those readings are captioned in Table 1 and Table 2. For the next figure, this is a case where we have the rats infected but yet treated. The rats are infected but yet to be treated. In this case, these are the observations. He constantly increased progressively from
Hall. Time is 2 p.m. Guests are expected to be seated by 1:30 p.m. Adekule Ajashin University, Akungba 54th inaugural lecture titled "A Low-Value Alternating Electromagnetic Field for Malaria."
All the right. Okay. An active impairment of the red blood cells, malaria parasite. Does PCV values show a consistent and significant decline across the right over the 5 blood samples. PCV value in a healthy manner, 35. If you look across the literature, 8%. Have dropped considerably into anemic range, 13 to 18%. The data clearly illustrates strong inverse relationship between PCV and PD. Have told us that the PD decreases, the PCV must. If PCV decreases, the PD must. And these are illustrated on the figures presented and the tables have shown. Observations. It is quite evident that the oscillating magnetic field, OSMF, exposure was an effective treatment for malaria in the experimental rats. The key outcomes observed are the reduction in the parasitic density, the subsequent increase in PCV, and indication of recovery from malaria. This demonstrates a correlation between decreased parasite load and improved red blood cell. Variation of PC of rat in the experimental group versus day after exposure to OSMF is shown in figure 10. As I go through the experimental details
Professor Dele
of this study,
members of the
I want to
university
quickly
community
observe
and the general public
the
accordingly
new
invited.
dance step
Please join us.
stepped up from the physical buildup of microparticles of hemoglobin of the blood, through physical magnetization. As a result, physical concept, alternating magnetic field, is needed to dismantle the buildup. Fortunately, this field can purely be produced through simple, locally fabricated physics apparatus. This is the whole essence of the whole therapy, alternating magnetic field. The product of the study, as we project into the future usage, is seen in the form of a well-designed unisex corporate electronic suit, whose back name shall be Helmut's coil. Mr. Vice Chancellor, it will be of interest to note that the success recorded in this study gave the birth to the topic for the inaugural lecture, a low-value alternative magnetic field for malaria therapy, a new dance step to the same old drama. With the new dance step in this topic indicating the low-value alternating magnetic field, and the same drama referring to the mosquito. Conclusion. As I draw this lecture to a close, let us reflect on what the findings from the emerging field of low-value alternative magnetic field therapy suggest for the future of malaria control development in Nigeria. Historically, the rhythm of malaria intervention has been familiar: vector control, Anopheles mosquito, pharmacological treatments of the parasites, prevention of transmission through net and insecticides. In many ways, we have been dancing to this same drum. True, for decades, yet the drum still persists. Malaria remains endemic. Resistance is creeping, and the burden of anemia and hepatic complications persists. Abajingin et al. 2014 showed that adjunctive supportive therapy that work on the host and via biophysical mechanism, specifically exposure to alternative magnetic may that step. The idea is not to abandon the mosquito or the parasite, but to widen the choreography, support the host resilience, for example, improve hematological indices in a malaria model, disrupt parasite biology from a conventional, for example, interference with chromosome in red blood cell integrity via magnetic field, and thereby create a richer intervention platform. The evidence base remains at the preclinical stage, but the mechanical possibility, for example, interfering with paramagnetic chromosome crystals under oscillating field is compelling. Recommendation. From a policy and national development standpoint, the implications are far-reaching. It is here then recommended that the Nigerian government must invest in research and innovation that move beyond the one-size-fits-all drug model. And that's what we have in Nigeria, even to this present moment. Use this anti-malaria drug, use that. Won't fit. The development of adjunct such as SMF requires infrastructure research, lab, biomedical engineering collaborations, regulatory frameworks, translation pipelines from bench to field. Nigerian young scientists, technologists, biomedical engineers, and health system innovators, biophysicists, electrical engineers, and public health workers should be encouraged and empowered to explore such interdisciplinary frontier. In doing so, university and research institutions become engines for national innovation rather than mere consumers of imported technology. Finally, on the home front, I want to recommend that Department of Applied Electronics, this is not physics and electronics, but Department of Applied Electronics, be established in the university with the primary aim of graduating students with vast knowledge in fabrication of electronics-based devices. At least this will enable oncoming experts in electronics modules to have a taste of construction of devices relevant to researches conducted within the university. For example, a trial in producing the end product of this study, Helmut's jacket, can start from university laboratories before it is handed over to the experts in the bigger industries. I equally suggest that collaborative research works be encouraged fully in the university. This will enhance the involvement of young scientists, engineers, health workers, and students very much exposed to new areas of research.
Low-value alternating electromagnetic field for malaria therapy. A new dance step to the same old drama to be delivered by Professor Dele Abajingin on Tuesday, November 25, 2025, under the distinguished chairmanship of Professor Olugbengaige, Vice Chancellor at Dele University of Ngakoko. Venue is the University Multipurpose.
I've met the VC over 30 years now, and we have been together. The mode of operation has really encouraged me, and I've stand fit in it. And we went through ups and downs together. I registered my sincere gratitude to Professor Olusegun Akiwumi, DVC Academics. I also extend my profound gratitude to other principal officers of the university, the registrar, Mr. Olugbenga Alajulu, the bursar, Mr. Tobi Orino, and the librarian, Dr. Doreen for their kind support. Our university mothers, our university mother, Professor Oluyemisi
Adekunle Ajashin
I truly
University,
appreciate your advice.
Akoko, 54th inaugural lecture titled A Low-Value Alternating Electromagnetic Field for Malaria Therapy, a new dance step to the same old drama to be delivered by Professor Dele Abajingin, members of the university community, and the general public, cordially invited. Please.
Faculty of Science, and I'm using my dean, Professor Olarewaju Folusho Olutua, as a point of contact to every, both academic and non-academic members of the faculty. To all members of my own department, Department of Physics, Electronics, my HOD, Dr. A.C. Tomiwa, Professor A.R. Ajayi, Professor N.U. Ajayi, Professor R.A. Fayoshe, Professor O.M. Afolabi, Dr. Mrs. A.M. Ashere, Dr. J.K. Adedeji, Dr. T.O. Ogolabi, Dr. S.O. Shedara, Mr. A.A. Agoyi, Mr. P.C. Okoye, Mr. J.I. Ibitoye, Mr. O.G. Akinusi, Mr. T.I. Tolaluju, Mr. A. Aguloye, and other non-academic staffs, I recognize you. What I am today as an academia, is a collective effort of many teachers and lecturers, both at the secondary school and university levels. I want to mention in particular Professor N.O. Ajayi, whose care and love sustained my interest in academics. Along the same line is Professor Olu Aboriwoye of blessed memory. He was my academic encourager. I would like to express my deepest appreciation to the royal fathers here present, Oba Dr. Victor Ade Simbo Kolajo Jilo III, which is my way of Olokido, hereby Chief Ade Olokido. I want to especially thank Professor O.M. Akombi of MCB, the practical aspect of this study. He equally ensured that all practical aspects of the study were undertaken by experts in the related fields. I acknowledge the contributions of everyone from BCH, MCB, Physics and Electronics, and AEB, who supported this project in one form or the other during the laboratory works. God bless you all. My sincere appreciation to senior and junior members of staff of. I appreciate the presence of my siblings, Mrs. Mayuk, and her husband, Mr. Mayuk, Chief Afola, and Mrs. Dele Janet Adekunle Abajingin, Mr. Rimoda Adekunle Abajingin, and Posse Shobo. Thanks. I want to appreciate my in-laws, the Fashion family, Dr. Mrs. Stella Akinso, as point of contact to others. Please, I do. To my in-laws who will remain uncomfortable. Is here not mentioned. Mommy Adebusola Elizabeth Hassan, who has gone her memories of love and address to issues of fatigue. Remains indelible in my mind. The legacy of love left her. I bless
Adekunle Ajashin University, Akoko, Ondo State, Nigeria, and Professor Dele Abajingin cordially invite the general public to the 54th inaugural lecture titled A Low-Value Alternating Electromagnetic Field for Malaria Therapy, a new dance step to the same old drama.
And I cherish your laughter and your call of grandpa at every video call on WhatsApp platform. My heartfelt gratitude also go to the Church of God, the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Region 22. Please mention your name. I'm using my provincial pastor, Olukansi, as everybody. The Lord will bless you all. My spiritual constituency, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the Praise family. The excellent men, the good women, children, and the congregation. Very cause to praise God over and over again. Now to my best friend, prayer partner, best soldier that holds the home front, a sister and wife, Pastor Mrs. Evelyn Dola. I salute your courage. My dream. Mr. For permission to eulogize this great woman of valor in my dialect. Olanio Ayami, Ifedolapo. Woku Agochi. Ọmọ ìwúrì níbi ọlápọ̀sí. Láàgbìn yẹ́rìnbó ẹgbẹ́ lóbi ìgbálẹ̀ sun ní ìgbọ̀n. Ọmọ olójó gbèsè òhun ńlá. Ọmọ alágogo méjì. Ọmọ níwò gbónoìs. Ọmọ dúdú kò pàtó. Ó là ní ìwàyà ni ayẹ ẹ̀ o àásànkẹ́. Mo lè máa lè kí ẹ ní èdè wa bọ̀dọ̀ náà mi orí omi. I love you. Finally, I'm ending this presentation by returning the glory of my existence and all I am today to the Almighty God. He who knows the ending from the beginning. Then, deep from my heart, I sing, my Father, your baby is singing. My Savior, your baby is singing. Thank you all for your love. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, shall we appreciate Professor Dele Abajingin? Put your hands together for the inaugural lecturer. That was the 51st inaugural lecture of Adekunle Ajashin University. I can also inform you that it was the 12th from the Faculty of Science and the second from the Department of Physics and Electronics of Adekunle Ajashin University. Without much ado, it's time to once again invite to the microphone the chairman of this, Mr. Vice Chancellor, Professor Olubenga Ige, as he gives his closing remarks. Please welcome the Vice Chancellor.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just listened to the 51st inaugural lecture of our university. Ably delivered by Professor D.D. Abajingin from the Department of Physics and Electronics. I want to appreciate you once again for this inaugural lecture. One of the most difficult subjects all over the world is physics. And so, if you have somebody called a professor of physics, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for such a person. In one of the pages, I was going through the pages one by one and I saw what was written there. Gala, 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 gala. And I said, what is the meaning of all this? Yeah. I want to salute the courage of our lecturers in physics and our students in physics. Like the inaugural lecturer said, we have been coming together for a very, very long time, since 1987. 1987. He was a lecturer in physics, in the Department of Physics, Ondo State College of Education, Ikere-Ekiti. I was a lecturer in the Department of Biology, 1987. We have been coming together. Though he has changed, God has changed him. Among all of us then, young lecturers, he was the only one with a Peugeot 504 saloon car. Yeah. And by the time we have done all that we needed to do, academics, and then the social life aspect of it, Abajingin would still leave Ikere by 11 p.m. and drove back to Akure every day. But today he's a pastor.
On Tuesday, November 25, 2025, under the distinguished chairmanship of Professor Olugbenga, Vice Chancellor at Dele Ajashin University of
thank God for your life.
University Multipurpose Hall. Time is 2 p.m. Guests are expected to be seated by 1:30 p.m. at Dele Ajashin University of Ngwakuko, 54th inaugural lecture titled "A Low-Value Alternating Electromagnetic Field for Malaria Therapy." A new dance step to the same old drama to be delivered by Professor Dele Abajingin. Members of the university community and the general public are cordially invited.
PhD,
please join us.
All the certificates that are needed for somebody to have to make it in life. Abajingin
Adekunle Ajashin University, Akungba Ondo State, Nigeria, and Professor Dele Abajingin cordially invite the general public to the 54th inaugural lecture titled "A Low-Value Alternating Electromagnetic Field for Malaria Therapy." A new dance step to the same old drama to be delivered by Professor Dele Abajingin.
You must
on
ensure
Tuesday, November 25.
that you deliver your inaugural lecture before the completion of my time as Vice Chancellor in this university. He told me, VC, I want to assure you that my inaugural lecture will be delivered today. Abajingin is a friend in need, and it's also a friend indeed. Every day, he thinks about how this university will develop all the time. Give him any assignment, we will do it dutifully and report back to you. I thank you for this 51st inaugural lecture. I want to thank the family too, Mrs. Evelyn Abajingin. Well, all those that he said at the end, I do not also understand. But I know that he was praising you. And from the depth of his heart, he said so. I want to thank you for the support which you have given to my friend all the time. And God will continue to support you too. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Ezekiel Olukaunsi. Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Ezekiel Olukaunsi, thank you very much for coming. I also want to recognize High Chief Adeyale, representing the Oshima Way of Ondo Kingdom. Thank you very, very much. Yes, thank you.
Professor